Can people learn anything about God from playing games?
Absolutely. One of the biggest things that I would say is when I was first playing WoW in college with you, because you love Warlocks, and you were like, you should try Warlock. They're a ton of fun. They've got a lot of dot damage and all this other stuff. And I'm like, okay, sure, I'll take a look at it. And I had fun. Like I was like, oh, cool, like cool spells, pretty numbers. I really like this. This is great. But I really wasn't like hooked. And so
Mm-hmm.
then a buddy of mine was like, Phil, have you even tried Paladin? And I was like, why? And he was like, just try playing it like just once or twice. So I started playing it. We started running through dungeons and everything, and we were running through the Scarlet Monastery. And I remember this very clearly. I had the biggest grin on my face because I was tanking for the group, and I was like, this is the best thing ever. And I was literally like, God, why am I having this much fun? And one of the biggest things that came through was because this is one of the best physical representations of who you are as a person.
Mm-hmm.
I have made you to tank and to heal for others in your life. And for
Mm-hmm.
those of you that don't know, my degree's in youth ministry. I work with kids. I work with young adults in ministry. And so there's a lot of other aspects to that. And so, and that's still true today. One of the biggest things that I have learned is that God is a God of fun and is
Mm.
somebody that is very much a stickler of the rules, very much a stickler of God is a God of justice. Remembering that God is also a God of fun and of imagination is
Mm-hmm.
very, very good for me to do. Um, and I would just say, like, you learn a lot about yourself when you play games like D&D or maybe other video games like Diablo or WoW or other things. I know a friend of ours, actually, Ashley, she played a D&D character. I can't remember if it was D&D or Pathfinder, but she basically took every aspect of herself that she didn't like, and she shoved it into a single D&D character as a way for her to work through those things about
Yeah.
herself.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like one of the biggest things. And even now there's like other podcasts and other ministries that are all based around literally trying to work through your own mental and emotional blocks
Right.
through games like D&D.
I mean, if I'm honest, part of the reason I'm attracted to warlocks is the like self-destructive nature of them, which is something that I've struggled with my whole life, right? So like, there's pieces to it that need to be worked out. I know for you, like one of the things was, Paladin was an affirmation from God that this is how He created you to be, and
Yeah.
then all of the negatives of that you were able to see very clearly too, where you were like,
Yeah.
you're like, I play a paladin, but there's going to be times where I can't protect and heal people, and what do I do with
Yeah.
that? And it was that way
Mm-hmm.
for you to see that in something else, so that when you saw what was going on in your own interpersonal relationships, you could say, oh, this here is kind of like this other thing that I was playing elsewhere. So I know, like, and I'm not saying that games are the only way you can do this. I know, my mom's an avid reader, and she does stuff like this by just reading books, but this is a way that I have. I mean, I end up in the last podcast that I had talking with Nick Kirsten. I think we mentioned in that podcast that all truth comes from God. And so if you learn something about yourself or about the way the world is or anything like that through whatever, whether it be video games or anything else, you're learning the truth of God. And ultimately, Jesus is the truth.